Titan, level 15 upgrade. So for today, I'm going to be installing the 3.3 engine. Right now I have the 2.5R in there, but this is definitely going to take it up to the next level. True, the 3.3 and the 2.5R, their stats are almost similar, but this is just going to give it a little bit more kick. So let's go ahead and get this installed. So first things first, I need to go ahead and take the old engine out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the fuel line that goes to the exhaust. And then I'm going to unplug the fuel line that goes to the carburetor. After that, it's time to unplug the wires for the easy start system. We're going to do the glow plug as well as the positive and negative wire that goes to the motor. Next up, I need to go ahead and pop off the servo arm that connects to the carburetor, which gives it acceleration. I'm just going to get a flathead screwdriver in there and pop it off. Now I got to go ahead and undo the exhaust, which is held on with a single screw and bolt. Now I need to go ahead and remove the engine from the engine mount. It's held on with 4 screws. We have 2 on this side and 2 on this side. Next up, I need to go ahead and just tilt the engine forward and then pull back and out. Last thing I need to do though is I need to detach this wire for grounding, which is held in with a single screw. Now it's time to go ahead and start removing some of the old stuff from this engine. We're going to go ahead and start off with the exhaust. We already took one screw that was being held on with the grounding wire. Now we got to take off the other one. All right. Exhaust is out of the way. Now it's time to go ahead and work on the carburetor. All I have to do is loosen up this nut. Once that's loosened, all I have to do is rotate this back and forth and pull it on out. Next up, I need to go ahead and remove the easy start. It's held in with 3 screws. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and pull this off along with the one-way bearing. Make sure that's all stuck together. Put that off to the side. Now it's time to move on to this side. What we're going to do is start off by removing this E-clip. Once that's out of the way, we're going to go ahead pull this part off, which shouldn't be too hard. We're going to make sure that both of the bearings come out because there's one on the inside and on the outside. Then we're going to get the brake pads, slide those off just like that. Now we need to go ahead and undo this nut. So what I'm going to do is get some pliers and then undo it. All right, that was painful to do. Set that off to the side. Now, in order to get the flywheel off, what I'm going to do is put this on a hard ground, get a rubber mallet, and tap that off. All right, we got that off. Set that off to the side. Now we're going to get another grab of the flathead screwdriver, and we need to pull off this little piece. And you can see that there is a little groove. We're going to go ahead and slide these apart just enough where we can go ahead and pull that off. And there is the old 2.5R engine, which is in excellent shape, but I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to go ahead and throw that into one of my other RCs. All right, now we have the new engine. It's the reverse process, of course, so we're going to go ahead and start off with this piece. Slide that all the way down, followed by the flywheel. Then we're going to go ahead and tighten this nut back on there. Next up, we're going to get the brake pads. We're going to slide those back on, followed by the bell. And then, of course, there is a washer, followed by the E-clip. With that taken care of, we're going to make sure that this arm is lined up with the rest of the tube. That way we can go ahead and push the carburetor back in. Slide that all the way down, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten this nut. Now it's time to go ahead and slide on the easy start system. We're just going to line everything up, push that down, and then reinstall the 3 screws that hold it in. Alright, last but not least, we have the exhaust. We're just going to slide this into position, and we're only going to install this screw right here. Then we're going to go ahead and get the wire that's grounded to the screw in the exhaust and install that. Now it's time to go ahead and reinstall the engine to the engine mount. I went ahead and put the 4 screws in there before putting the engine in. Believe me, that's going to save me a headache. We're going to make sure that the throttle arm is pushed against the spur gear. Then we're just going to go ahead and tilt the engine forward, push it down, and then tighten down the 4 screws. Now it's time to go ahead and re-tie down the exhaust using that 1 screw and nut. Now it's time to go ahead and start plugging everything else in. We're going to get the fuel line that goes from the top of the fuel tank and plug that into the top of the exhaust. Then we're going to get the fuel line that comes from the bottom of the fuel tank, loop that around and plug that into the carburetor. Then we're going to go ahead and get the wires that go to the Easy Start system, and we're going to plug those back in. It will have a plus and minus sign, so you can go ahead and color coordinate. I also got to go ahead and snap on the arm back to the carburetor, which controls the acceleration. And last but not least, we got to plug in the wire for the glow plug. So here's before. And here, of course, is after. It looks so good. Now, one thing I have to go ahead and mention is that the carburetor has to be reset to stock settings. So all this has to go back to how it was when you get it stock, because this engine is brand spanking new. So I do need to go ahead and go through the process of breaking it in. But once it's broken in, I can go ahead and have some fun with a 3.3 engine. And before I end this video, I have to say thank you to everyone who donated on Patreon. You guys made this upgrade possible. Thank you. And that was Titan's level 15 upgrade. Huh. I'm gonna have to make a bigger hole. There we go.